Chief Durojai stood beside his sleek black Bentley, sweat forming on his forehead as he stared at the rising smoke from the engine. His expensive suit clung to his back from the heat, and the breeze had disappeared. He looked at his phone, no signal. His driver had gone down the road to look for help. He was alone. Then, from a distance, he heard laughter, childlike and lively, cutting through the heavy air like music. 3 boys came running down the road, waving. It was Tay, Kahind, and Idao. They had just finished selling the last of their pure water when they saw the fancy car stopped by the roadside. They had never seen a car like that up close. It was shiny, huge, and definitely expensive. Most cars in Aruwa were old Texas and noisy bikes. This one looked like something from a movie. Wate said, "That car must be worth 1,000,000 bags of rice. Maybe even 2,000,000, Kahind added, eyes wide. Let's go and help him, Idao grinned. He looked stuck, and stuck people pay. They ran over, smiling and full of energy. Good afternoon, sir, they all said at once. Durojai turned around slowly, annoyed at first, but then he stared. 3 boys, same height, same face, same bold eyes. Something about them felt ... familiar. His heart beat strangely, like a drum in the distance. Sir, should we help you push your car? Tay asked. You need help, don't worry, said Kahind. We're very strong, Idao added proudly. Before he could speak, the boys had already moved to the back of the car. Let's go, Tay shouted. 1, 2, 3, Kahind yelled. They pushed, grunting, sweating, working together as they always did. Slowly, the Bentley rolled forward, just enough to clear the bad spot on the road. Durojai was shocked. These boys were small, but powerful. When they stopped, the boys clapped and cheered like they had just won a football match. See, told you we're strong, Idao laughed. Durojai stepped closer. What are your names? He asked. Tay, Kahind, Idao? He blinked. Those names, that order. His throat became dry. He asked carefully, where's your father? The boys looked at one another. We don't know him, Kahind said. He left before we were born, Tay added. Mama says maybe he didn't know about us. Idao shrugged. The man stared at them, completely still. Then he asked softly, what's your mother's name? They replied together, Mama Rang. The world stopped for a second. The heat, the road, the dust, everything disappeared around him. Durojai's legs felt weak. It was like God had planned this meeting, exactly in this moment, at this place, on this forgotten road. These weren't just boys. They were his boys. He didn't say anything yet. He wasn't sure how. He just stared at the triplets, while they smiled at him, happy and innocent. They had no idea that the man they just helped was their father. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories like this. The triplets wiped the sweat from their foreheads, proud of what they had just done. The big black car had moved, thanks to them. Their small hands and strong legs had done what many grown-ups could not. Chief Durojai stood in silence. He had watched them push the Bentley with such teamwork and energy. They didn't complain. They didn't ask for anything first. They just helped. He looked again at the boys, Tay with his brave face, Kahind with his serious eyes, and Idao with his bright, playful grin. Each boy had something familiar about them. Their laughter, their voices, their expressions. Even the way they stood together reminded him of someone. Suddenly, Durojai felt something heavy in his chest. Could this really be happening? He didn't want to believe too fast. Maybe it was just a coincidence. But it was hard to ignore the signs. 3 boys, the same age, same mother's name. Same names he and Ronk had once dreamed of giving their future children. He tried to shake off the thought. Maybe I'm just tired, he told himself. Still, he felt the need to say something. You boys are very strong, he said, his voice softer now. Thank you, sir, they all replied. I hope the car is okay now, said Kahind, looking at the smoke that had now stopped rising. You need water? Asked Idao. We can bring some from the well. Chief smiled. You're offering me water too. Tay nodded. That's what we do, sir. Help first, ask later. Chief Durojai reached into his pocket and pulled out some clean, new Naira notes, more than what they had ever held at once. But when he stretched his hand toward them, something unexpected happened. Tay looked at the money, then at his brothers. They all stepped back politely. No, sir, we don't want money, Tay said. Really, the chief asked, surprised. We didn't help you because of money, Kahind explained. You were stuck. We just wanted to help. Ida smiled. But if you have cold water, we won't say no. The chief laughed, really laughed, a deep, honest laugh he hadn't felt in years. He looked at the boys not just with his eyes, but with his heart. These weren't ordinary street kids. They had kindness, dignity, character. Something inside him cracked open like a door that had been locked for too long. Maybe, just maybe, this was not an accident. Maybe this small act pushing a broken-down car on a dusty road was actually pushing open a much bigger story, one he had tried to forget, one he was now ready to face. Chief Durojai watched the boys closely now, not just as kind strangers who helped push his car, but with eyes full of questions. He noticed things he hadn't seen before. The shape of their noses, the lines of their jaws. The way Tay stood tall and protective in front of his brothers, just like he used to do for his younger cousins when he was a boy. He saw himself in them and it shook him. Are you sure I don't know you from somewhere? Chief asked, trying to sound casual. Tay tilted his head. We've never met before, sir. Maybe from the city, Kahind asked. Have you come to Arua before? The chief smiled slightly. Long ago, he said. Very long ago. Maybe you know our mother, Ida added. Her name is Mama Rong. That name hit the chief like thunder. Rong. He hadn't said that name in over a decade, but he had never forgotten it. She was the girl from Arua who had once made him laugh when he had nothing, who had believed in him when he was still dreaming. She was the one he left behind when he chased a future in the city. He had meant to return, to bring her with him, but life moved faster than his promises. And now, was it possible? Could this really be happening? He looked at the boys again. 3 of them, the same age. The same names he and Ronk had picked out together on a quiet night years ago, when love still felt simple. Tay, Kahind, Idao, he whispered almost to himself. The names weren't just Yoruba tradition, they were personal. He remembered joking with Ronk, if we ever have triplets, I'll name them myself. Back then it had all felt like a dream. Now here it was alive, real, and standing in front of him. His heart beat fast. His hands trembled slightly. He felt like the ground beneath him was no longer steady. Still, a part of him held back. What if I'm wrong, he thought. What if this is just coincidence? But it felt like more than that. It felt like God was showing him something he had missed for years. A voice inside whispered, ask more. Go deeper. And he would. Because something told him, these weren't just strangers. These boys might be his sons. The sky was turning orange as the sun began to set over Arua. The air had cooled and the town was quiet except for distant voices and the soft sounds of evening. Chief Durojai walked behind the triplets as they led him home. He wasn't the same man who had stepped out of the Bentley that afternoon. That man was a billionaire, full of pride, power, and loneliness. But this man walking now, he felt small, nervous, human, like a man who had found something he never thought he'd see again. Hope. As they reached the small house at the end of a dusty lane, the triplets shouted with joy, Mama, we're back. Mama Ronk was outside as usual, sitting on a small stool beside a charcoal stove. Her hands were busy peeling yam, her hair tied back in a scarf. She looked up with a smile, but then her eyes landed on the man behind her sons. Her hand froze. The knife dropped from her fingers and landed with a soft thud in the sand. She stood up slowly, her body tense, her eyes wide. Durojai, she said, barely louder than a whisper. The chief's voice cracked. Ron? The triplets turned quickly. Tay looked from his mother to the man. Kahind blinked. Ida frowned. Mama, you know him. Ronk nodded slowly. Her lips trembled. I knew him a long time ago, she said. He is your father. The words fell like thunder in the silence. Chief Durojai stepped forward slowly, carefully, as if afraid she might vanish. I didn't know, Ronk. I swear to you. I didn't know you were carrying my children. I left chasing success. I thought I'd come back. But when I returned, you were gone, and I gave up. He looked down ashamed, but I never stopped thinking about you. He turned to the boys. My sons, I didn't deserve to find you this way. But today I believe God sent me down that road, not to fix a car, but to fix my heart. Tears filled Mama Ronk's eyes. She had waited years for this moment. She had cried alone, raised 3 boys with her hands and her heart, and never once begged for help. Now, the man who had left her behind stood before her not with pride, but with apology. She said nothing at first. Then, slowly, she stepped forward and looked him in the eye. You hurt me, Durojai, she said softly. But you gave me the best gift life ever gave me, my sons. I raised them with love. And now, I see you standing here, with tears in your eyes, and I believe maybe it's not too late. Durojai nodded, swallowing hard. Then he turned to the boys. His hand shook as he knelt down before them. Te, Kahind, Idao, he said, I am your father. I don't want to just say it, I want to prove it. If you will allow me, I want to be in your life. To take care of you, to know you, to love you. The triplets were quiet. They had imagined this moment so many times, wondering what their father would look like, how he would talk, what he would say. Now here he was, not angry, not proud, but sorry, and ready. Te, the boldest, stepped forward. Are you going to leave again? Chief shook his head. Never. Kahind asked, are you really rich? Chief smiled through his tears. Yes. Then Idao added, are you going to love our mama too? Everyone laughed gently, even Mama Ronk. The chief turned to her, eyes soft. If she let me. And then, as the orange sun dipped behind the hills, the triplets hugged their father for the very first time. It was not perfect, but it was real, and that was enough. A few months later, the triplets now lived in a beautiful house in the city with their mother and their father. They went to school, they wore shoes, they had books, food, and clean clothes. But more than anything, they had love. Chief Durojai changed too. The man who once ate alone at a long table now laughed every morning over breakfast with his sons. They called him Daddy with joy. He still owned businesses. He still wore fine suits. But now, he had something money could never buy. Family.